Good afternoon, Pokemon trainers, and welcome to yet another episode of the Pokemon Safari Guide. Today we will be talking about one of Galar's new Pokemon. It's a Gen 8 Pokemon, brand new. And we're going to be talking about it because it's unique in its typing. It's got kind of a cool design, especially with the ability to be different forms based on what nature it is. And it's got a G-Max form, so this is a pretty useful Pokemon, pretty useful types, and yeah, every time that I see its name, it reminds me of a System of a Down song. So, without further ado, Toxtricity, Galar number 311, National number 849. Toxtricity is known as the Punk Pokemon. You can see its shiny forms up there. They're pretty cool. I think that I like the low key form shiny better, but I mean, it's personal preference. That should say it evolves from Toxel at level 30, not Towel. I apologize. Sometimes autocorrect really gets you, and that depends on its nature, depending if it evolves into amped form or low key form. It was first introduced in Pokemon Sword and Shield. It is half electric and half poison type, which means that it has a 4 times weakness to ground and a regular weakness to psychic. However, it does have a lot of resistances, being electric, grass, fighting, poison, flying, bug, steel, and fairy. That is a lot of resistances all in one Pokemon. However, Toxtricity is pretty squishy, so the resistances don't help so much. It does have a Gigantamax form down below, which is pretty useful. You can pause right now if you'd like to read the Pokédex entries, but basically it just talks about how he's got a lot of electricity in his body and how he also is poisonous. It is interesting, his Gigantamax form, it states that the poison penetrates his brain and he just loses control. So he like poisons himself, which I think is wild. You could also pause here if you want to know what natures cause which form. The amped natures above and the low-key natures below. But anyway, on to the competitive stuff. Toxtricity's abilities, plus or minus depending on amped or low key, and it boosts the special attack stat of the Pokemon if an ally with the plus or minus ability is also in battle. So it could maybe be useful if Minun and Plusle are added into the game, but right now it's really not that useful. Punk Rock, which it boosts the power of sound-based moves. The Pokemon also takes half damage from these kinds of moves. I like to run Toxtricity against, or like alongside, like Exploud. Noivern is again a great Pokemon, great to run it alongside Pokemon in double battles because of Tailwind. Plus, he would take half damage from Noivern's Boom Burst, or any other sound-based moves that Noivern does that hits everybody on the field. And his last ability is Technician. So it powers up Pokemon's weaker moves. So I think it's like if a move is like 60 or below, it raises it by like 1.5, I believe. I may be wrong about that, but I'm pretty sure it's 1.5. So like a 60 base power becomes 90. Kind of useful, but it's with his moveset, Punk Rock is definitely the way to go. He has a super high special attack, not a great speed, pretty average stats around the board other than attack and special attack, and the attack doesn't mean anything because the special attack is so much higher. He has a base stat total of 502, which is pretty good. That's above average. So this is the Power Chord build. The focus is to use Toxtricity's massive special attack stat combined with Punk Rock ability and high damage sound moves. Overdrive has a really high base damage, so does Boom Burst. Sludge Bomb, just because it gets stabbed, also a chance to poison, is always nice. And Volt Switch, not a good matchup, get out of there. You're going to maximize speed and special attack, and run a timid nature to try to outspeed things. However, you could run modest if you wanted to. Speed on Toxtricity doesn't make so much of a difference, so I could understand running modest. As far as items go, this is a choice specs build, just for the most damage, but you could run throat spray. That way you're able to like change your moves up a little bit, in terms of like you're not choiced into a move. You could also use Focus Sash because, like I said, he's squishy. And Choice Scarf. If you want to try to outspeed things, go ahead. Choice Scarf and Overdrive. Overdrive does a ton of damage. It's definitely worth looking into. Alternative moves, you can run Sludge Wave if you have a Steel type Pokemon next to you. It's really useful in doubles. So like having Lucario next to him, for example, and running Sludge Wave is pretty useful because you do a decent amount of damage on your opponents, your partner's immune, and you have a chance to poison them. Protect is pretty useful also, again, because he's so squishy and he's used a lot in doubles. So Protect and try to take out any threats with your other Pokemon. Shift Gear, useful stat boosts. Hex, because Toxtricity's Gmax Stun Shock has a chance to either poison or paralyze both opponents, which is really, really useful. Being able to paralyze both opponents at once is ridiculous. But then using Hex right after, like if you use Gmax Stun Shock on your last move of Gigantamax, and then you can use Hex, which does more damage if your opponent has a status ailment. So that's really useful for Toxtricity to do. So you might want to think about putting that instead of like Sledge Bomb or Boom Burst. So yeah, just keep that in mind, because Gmax Stun Shock is definitely worth it, so you're going to want to keep Overdrive. So finally, the pretty simple builds. He doesn't have such a wide move pool, so it's pretty easy to do. But this has been a product of Couch Pilot Games. You can follow us on Twitter and Instagram at Couch Pilot Games, or join us at Facebook, where you can get updates on all things dealing with couch aviation. You can also join our Pokemon Draft League Facebook group and basically just get in touch with us. Get in touch with the creators, the administrators, the trainers within our league. You can run scrimmages with them if they have time, which a lot of them do, and they're more than willing to run scrimmages with people. So let us know what you like, what you dislike, what we can do better, because we want to do more to serve you. Again, thank you so much for your time. Thank you for supporting Couch Pilot Games. Goodbye.